Hello everyone, and thank you for joining me on my Let's Play of Remember Me. Remember Me was a AAA title released in June of 2013 for Windows, PlayStation 3, and Xbox 360. It's the first project to bear fruit from Dontnod Entertainment and published by Capcom. I'll be playing the PlayStation 3 version, and this will be an informative Let's Play. I'm going to do a lot of heavy editing, have some very informative blurbs come up, concept art, history points, that sort of thing, so that's what you can expect. Remember Me features Nilin as the main character. She's a memory hunter that is working for an underground resistance group called the Errorists. That's her there. They're rebelling against a mega corporation called Memorize. Takes place in Neo Paris in the year of 2084. Remember Me is an action brawler with platforming, exploration. It does have some unique systems in it, such as a memory remixing system, which we'll get to later. The combat is a lot like combat systems that were pioneered in games like Batman Arkham Asylum, where you can chain together combos. It does have some differences, which we'll see later. This is my first playthrough of the game. I'll be playing on the hardest difficulty, Memory Hunter. I'll be editing these episodes together in 2-hour batches, of course splitting them up into smaller episodes, so I won't be able to know anything ahead of time that far in advance. As you can see, the platforming has some light parkour elements to it. And after this trailer finishes up, we'll have a quick commercial break and get started. And now, a word from our sponsor.
After our boat sank, I was the only refugee to reach the shore. I held my husband's hand until the very last second. I can still feel the nails of his fingers sticking into mine, you know?
The first night he said to me, "Let's share our memories." I remember I was sort of afraid, but then he smiled and we hit the switch together, and then I felt everything. For the first time, I was living all of his love for me. It felt so warm and so strong that it almost hurt. For the last 3 years, every day has been our first day.
The weather was so hot that day. The streets stank of this awful smell of burning plastic. I walked with the other children across town until we were outside of Paris. No one fired. The war was over. I don't know if I'll ever find the courage to give these memories to my son, but I'm relieved to know that they are all safe and secure.
Thanks to my Sen-Sen, I choose to remember every defining moment of my life. Good ones and the bad. Thanks to my Sen-Sen, my husband lives on, here and here.
Remember to live to remember. That's the motto behind Memorize's flagship product, the Sen-Sen. Gotta hand it to Dontnod. Their marketing materials that they make for the fictional company and products behind this game is pretty top-notch. They have these commercials and other marketing materials that you'll see in-game, which look pretty realistic and pretty well realized.
Post-memory wiped. Sen-Sen awaiting new memorial content. Good day. Can you hear me?
Yes.
What is your name?
Nilin.
What year? What did you say?
Nilin.
Damn. Now that's a first. Not to worry. We'll scrape away those last memories. What year is it?
I don't know.
It's 2084. Do you know where you are?
No.
Not so resistant after all. Thank you for your cooperation. Dr. Quaid,
Yes.
this subject is displaying some resistance.
Complete the substitution protocols, then send her to me. I'll erase the last barriers myself.
Yes, Doctor.
So this is Nilin, our main protagonist that has been captured and detained at a correctional facility that shares the same name as a famous Paris landmark, as we'll find out later.
Good day. Raise your head, please.
She's had her memory forcibly wiped, but it looks like the process wasn't completely successful.
Thank you. Now stand up.
So they're going to send her off to phase 2 of memory wiping.
Please follow the orange line to your next assignment.
Where the hell?
Your memory has been erased.
Please try to follow the orange line.
Legislation. You are safe. You have nothing to fear.
We are doing our best to make this transition as stress-free as possible. Please follow. Please do not bother our staff.
And you got the
They will
card for
attend
the
to you
game.
in
I
good
got the
time.
card too, but that's not the point. I should have got that bonus. What time do you come into work? I come in on time every day.
Memory loss can be disturbed.
What time do you leave?
It is normal to feel periods of heightened anxiety.
You are lost. Please do not worry. Simply return to and follow the orange pathway. Very good.
Dr. Quaid is a world-renowned specialist. He is dedicated to the successful treatment of each and every one of you. Know that you are in safe hands.
So you can expect to see a lot of that digital artifacting type of effect where the video feed gets distorted. Seems pretty common in futurist type games.
This is all wrong.
Please stand in line and wait for your turn before sitting down on the chair.
Well, that doesn't look pleasant.
Move forward. Move forward. Very good.
Nilin,
Please stand.
can you hear me?
Yes.
They're about to wipe your brain, Nilin. Don't let them do it. I need to create a diversion. Be ready to move when I say.
Who are you?
I'm the voice you have to listen to if you want to live.
Don't leave me alone.
Please stand in line and wait for your turn before sitting down on the chair.
Network anomaly. Temporary
Temporary quarantine established. Thank you for your patience.
That got their attention. Nilin, the large metal shutter is going to raise on your left. If you understood me, move your head. I'm linked to your sensen. I'll feel it. The door. Go under it. Now.
Unattended patient in restricted area. Coercive unit deployed.
The passage on your right. Take it.
The wonderfully bombast soundtrack that you're listening to was composed by Olivier Derivière. Hopefully I didn't butcher that too much.
Get up. You've got to keep going.
He's a video game composer that's worked on a few notable titles in the past. He worked on the Obscure series, the reboot of Alone in the Dark, and more recently, the standalone expansion to Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag,
Whoa.
Freedom Cry.
Where am I?
You're almost there. Slide into a casket. Quickly.
If you look at these mummified bodies, you'll notice that some of them are still moving around, still wriggling around as they get put into these coffins. Kind of creepy.
Please let this be a nightmare.
I find it kind of disturbing that they have so many of these bodies. They have to build an assembly line just to put all of them in a coffin. But, you know, evil corporations gotta do what evil corporations gotta do. Ooh, shh. Time for another cutscene.
Nilin, are you okay?
No, I need to get out of here. Get me out of here now!
Calm down. My name is Edge. You have to trust me, sis.
I just did, bro, and now I am trapped in a coffin!
I must prepare you for what is waiting outside. The enemy is Memorize, a corporation that has digitized and commoditized memories. They call it Sensen technology, and the world is addicted to it. You follow.
Yes.
You were a memory hunter, Nilin, the best. Other hunters merely pillage memories, but you can remix them. And above all, you are an errorist, just like me.
Why did they do this to me?
You were a revolutionary fighter, and my best agent. We all fought to assure that no firm might build a monopoly on all human memories. But I failed. We were rounded up and imprisoned.
Oh, this is all very interesting, but I really have to get out of this coffin now!
The currents are going to take you to Slum 404. Once you've landed, I'll tell you my plan.
So we've got to make our way to Slum 404. 404 being an interesting choice of name, of course referencing the not found error when a server can't find a web page you're requesting. I guess you can draw some parallels there to the undesirables being the ones in the slum, or people that don't want to be found.
Listen! Johnny is crying! Brother! Alive? Mine first thief. Mine first thief. Look! A new us. Pain. Oh, pain is shared now. Feels lost now. A new us. Fear. Tears and grins. Lost. Look! Lost. A new us. Pain is shared now. Dark pain. Fear is lost now. Been searching a long time now. Fear. Fear. Lost. Lost. Tears and grins. Sister? Meet.
How about friend? I'm not part of your tribe. Is that it?
And so speaking of undesirables, here we encounter the game's first ones. They're called the Leapers.
I don't want to fight you.
You're gonna have to, Nilin. These guys will kill you. Use your presence.
So here we get our first taste of the combo system. It's called the Combo Lab, and you go in here to create your own combos. They're composed of pressins, which equate to button presses on your controller. And right now we just have a couple to add to our first combo, so we'll go ahead and do that. But in the future you do get different types of pressins, which contribute to cooldown on your abilities, lessening the cooldown on your abilities, as well as healing yourself, giving you some HP back when you do land a successful hit. The ones that we're adding here just add extra damage.
Leapers. Miserable cast-offs left to rot in the depths of Neo-Paris.
Miserable. Monstrous, more like.
They are the abandoned children of our Sen-Sen age. Simply humans like you or I, but cast as shadows of our shame. Something we are meant to fear. Another justification for the Errorist cause.
Who's there?
Interesting that they bring up the Leapers as cast-offs of society. It's unclear whether the use of Sen-Sen technology actually turns these people into Leapers, or if it's the result of getting your mind wiped at the correctional facility that we saw earlier that causes these deformities.
Okay, you need to get out of here. Go find Headache Tommy. I told him you were back in the game.
Who?
He runs a bar at the top of Slum 404. Start by climbing out of this dump, and I'll give you directions as and when.
But I don't know if the game's going to fully explain how they got this way.
cathedral. Does anyone recognize Edge's hand in this? He's promised to bring down our civilization. One thing is certain. The number of Errorists free roaming our beloved city doubled overnight, bringing the count to 2. Remember, Nilin told you first. Scandal at La Bastille. The administration has admitted the escape of the notorious criminal Nilin.
And there you have it, a news announcer called the facility that Nilin escaped from, La Bastille. Now, La Bastille is significant in Paris because it was a actual prison. It was originally built as a fortress and then turned into a prison by Louis XIV for upper-class members of French society that he wasn't too impressed or happy with. It was actually in real life stormed by revolutionaries, and later on when it was torn down, there was a column erected in place of La Bastille that symbolized liberty. So here we've picked up our first Nisus. Nisus is an NGO in the game that helps preserve the cultural memories of Neo-Paris. And it's an interesting way of providing some history and backstory into the technology and events that are happening in-game here. I'm a person that likes to invest into the lore when I'm playing through a game to get that full experience, and so I will be reading through all of these for myself and for you guys. Founding of Neo-Paris, 2053. September 9 to 12, 2047. Several Tremora seismic bombs laid waste to half of Paris. The catastrophe marked the end of the European Civil War and triggered a longer period of suffering and deprivation for the survivors trapped in a city pockmarked by craters from explosions. The authorities were tempted to abandon the city during the 5 years after the destruction of Paris. The old capital had become a ghost town since the fall of the French government in 2041, and the municipal council was the only legitimate governing body. Paris was declared a free city in spring 2048, and gangs and looters ruled the streets. 2052. After 2 years of negotiations, Mayor Eugene Hubert Carbon managed to persuade the great entrepreneur Antoine Cartier-Wells to move head office of Memorize back to the city where he had founded his company 40 years earlier. The announcement that this most famous and profitable company was returning to Paris gave the ravaged city renewed hope for the future. A massive rehabilitation project of the ex-capital was launched the following year, and the founding of Neo-Paris was announced. 2 factors would ensure the success of the project. The Safe, Security and Freedom for Everyone program generated a global topological map of the city devastated by bombs, and carried out a systematic survey of the remaining buildings and structures. Those impossible to rebuild were preserved to create an AVR, Augmented Vertical Reconstruction Plan, to build the city on the city, and skyscrapers appeared in the urban landscape of Paris for the first time. The second was the Mempherique, a huge dam around the city designed to protect it from outside attacks and to channel transport and trade into the city via canals and water channels linking the different districts.
Edge. Who is this Tommy guy?
Tommy was your closest friend, a former memory hunter who's still faithful to our cause. His bar is in a cargo hull over the canal locks in Slum 404, the Leaking Brain. You can't miss it.
And we make our way out of the ravaged metro and sewers of Neo-Paris and surface into Slum 404, which is where we'll continue next time. Thanks for joining me.